Welcome to all of you entrepreneurs, light workers, and spiritual warriors out there. I am Rory Mouttet, and this is the 50 Entrepreneurs in 50 Days Abundance Mission. And today, guys, I am beyond excited to be interviewing my friend and my teammate from our mentorship group, Caleb. And by the way, folks, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you're getting all of the gold that's coming out of this interview series with real spiritually connected entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Some just getting started, like Caleb, and some who have been around for a long time and are very, very wise. We can learn from every single one of these individuals. This is what 50 Entrepreneurs in 50 Days is about, and we can all achieve our abundance online. All right, Caleb, how are you, my brother?
Doing amazing, Rory. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, life has just been it's just been going great ever since I've joined this program and been working alongside amazing people like you, like Daniel A, like Daniel K. I haven't seen much of him for a while. Just being surrounded by all these really great people who came from similar situations that I came from has just, empowered me to step into leadership, start making stuff happen. Yeah, I'm super excited. Super excited for this interview too.
Yeah, man, I've been so keenly waiting for this, bro. Um, you know what, man? Like I've seen you firsthand, brother. I've seen you firsthand. You know, your work ethic, everything, your commitment to the formula, to the approach. You don't go off script. You're so teachable. You know, which is to me the whole works of a leader, bro. You know what I mean? You're like the love child of Tony Robbins and Yoda just before you got started. But you know what I mean, man? Like, that's because we know each other. You know, how do you convince doubters, about, a program that you're doing that they might not necessarily know about? Well, first tell us a little bit about the program, if you like.
It's
And
in,
then we can talk about the doubters, although I know that both of us agree that the doubters are usually the ones that never really achieve anything. But some people will ask questions that are important. So.
you'd be surprised about doubters, but the this program is amazing because it eliminates mental blockers that prevent a lot of people from achieving success online. And on top of that, you get one-on-one group mentorship. Um, you get both of them, group mentorship and one-on-one is what I'm saying. One-on-one group mentorship sounds confusing, but you know what I mean. Anyway, you get one-on-one mentorship, group mentorship. You get this big list of tools and courses from the Exodus Elite platform, and it's just a really awesome program that most people would pay, like 10K for. So just the prices. I mean, what they're charging, I would have paid much more than what I paid.
Yeah, well, my first mentorship cost me 35 Australian, 3,500 Australian, and that's about $6,000. Sorry, 3,500 US, which is about $6,000. And it was a great program, man, but it definitely didn't have any one-on-one support or anything like that. Sure, you had group support, but there were thousands, if not tens of thousands of members in there. So yeah, man, this program, which I'm doing too. So, um, look, some may think that we're shamelessly promoting this, but for me, I'm a lot older than you, Caleb, and I know the damage firsthand of not having a mentor. Do you know what I
Of
mean?
course.
So there's a lot of people looking to get out there online. Um, so, bro, tell us a little bit about what you were doing before this.
What I was doing before this, I was doubting. I doubted myself, I doubted my business, I doubted my ability to achieve and make the things happen that I needed to. Um, I was in a point of like such lack of drive that I wasn't sending messages out. I wasn't doing anything that I needed to, and I wasn't even able to hop on calls, with amazing people like you, Rory, who are so, approachable and charismatic. Like that stressed me out. Like because I was such at such a low point of like anxiety and frustration. I didn't think I could do it. Then Jorge came along, and you guys, all of you guys came along, and you said something to me that no other salesperson in our industry hardly ever says after being rejected. Okay, sure. It'll happen when it needs to happen. Now it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And that made me think, these guys, they aren't pushing me. They aren't trying to, they're opening up the doors, but they're not forcing me through it. So it kind of made me a little bit curious about what's on the other side. I was like, I want to see what's over there. So yeah, now here I am, hopping on calls, sending out the messages, putting in the work. Completely different person. You wouldn't recognize me.
Well, bro, I don't have the insight of seeing you before, but you know what, man? Like seeing where you are now as a 25-year-old guy, already with a wife and a family, um, man, you know what? I'm 47, bro. I'm 22 years older than you. Um, I'm actually, I think, 12 years older than Jorge. I just call him George because Jorge is like two syllables instead of one. But I mean, I absolutely agree, right? George is an absolute phenomenon, probably one of the best closers I've ever met. Has a completely different approach to closing deals. And I mean, I closed over $4 million worth of deals for an Amazon guru. But it was all about, and he let a lot of people down. There's a big reason about why I'm doing this, right? Give people insight into real leaders, real people who are doing things the right way with the right guidance. Um, a lot of people out there in high ticket closing talking about being the alpha, right? We know that it's about being the humble servant and leader, right? A lot of people out there being about the never take no for an answer, objection handling, stuff like that. To me, um, that stuff is just, in hindsight now, I used to do a lot of that, right? I used to pride
Right, yeah.
myself on never taking no for an answer, man. Um, and but the worst thing is the twist the knife mentality, right? It's like,
Mhm.
dig into the pain, dig into the pain, dig into the pain, make sure they feel like they're in a lot of pain, and then pitch the
Mhm.
deal and shut up. And I just, I've been through too much and I've seen too much. And closing a lot of deals for someone who let a lot of people down, really sort of taught me about life the hard way. So I'm so excited to see someone like you getting into business with the right guidance, man, because it's just going to get you there a lot quicker. Hey, man, you were talking about your lighting. Why don't you? Do you want to show you got some sort of cool lighting going on or something there?
Yeah, so like on this side of the camera, it looks all professional and stuff. Well, let me change that real quick. This is what I'm using for lighting. So if you're like dead broke and you think you think you don't have like the right professional setup to make something happen, I'm literally using an LGB lamp that cost me $50 and it works just fine.
Oh, mint, man. Yeah, that works great. Yeah, where'd you
Yeah,
get
look,
that from?
I actually bought it a few years ago when me and my wife got our first place together. We wanted to kind of zhuzh up the living room a bit, so we got these LGB lights, and I noticed that like the when it's put on the white setting, it just makes the perfect studio lighting. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this behind my computer, and boom, there you go.
It does work really well, bro. It brings out your eyes. Okay. That's a joke, man. Hey man, so Exodus Elite. Talk to me about that a little bit. Tell the audience about what makes it different from other digital programs and all the new stuff out there right now.
Yeah, the biggest problem that I see with, because I've been to 3 or 4 mentorship programs before this, and the biggest issue that I typically see is they offer, one-on-one support, but you never really get one-on-one support just because, there's either just this really large crowd and you're just trying to make yourself heard in like this ocean of voices, or they're just scammers, which I've run into before too. They offer something that they can't deliver on. um but what makes this program different is, since they offer group mentorship and one-on-one support, even on the rare days where Jorge has like a headache or something, um where he's really sick and you can't contact him. Even on those days, you can contact people who are in the group that are succeeding and growing, which is a whole nother point of value, because you get the perspective of somebody who's down at your level, eye level. Because like one of the biggest things that you run in with any kind of like teaching program is the curse of knowledge, which is when you're at a point of experience where you don't remember what it's like being a beginner. So having group mentorship and working alongside people who know what you're going through, because they're a bit, a few layers down, is something that's so valuable, and something that you really don't get in the same way from other programs that you get from this one.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I absolutely agree. You mentioned about George being sick. I've seen him up doing our live training calls, sick as hell, man. So, it's a rare day when he doesn't show up to a call. But
It's been like
bro,
one or two times.
yeah, I get the same thing as you, man. Right? Small group, team members who support each other, all have businesses of their own. Um, all at different paths on the journey. But definitely there, that's what I really get out of this group is just the support, and I completely subscribe to what you say. In fact, I'll give an example, okay? I had to start all over again. Um, I've had to, I'm dealing with a separation at the moment. I'm living at home with my mum and dad, and I've been finding it really difficult to live here. Just it's a small house. They have their old ways. They don't believe in the business and things like that. But my family, I don't want for anything in my family, man. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's their house at the end of the day. But I was really struggling with that for a long time and fighting with my parents a lot. And I mentioned it to Parko the other day, who's just like an amazing guy, one of our team members. And he came back to me, he said, man, like, family's a blessing, man. Like, think of it about it as family's a blessing. You're with your family right now. You don't get to see your family. I don't get to see my parents that often. And, it just like woke me up straight away, man. It was like fucking far out, man. I've been just being so critical of them. And I really couldn't, I mean, I know I've got the strength to deal with a lot of stuff, but I really don't want to be losing either of my parents right now, and especially not if I was in an ungrateful space. And just, someone in our group being able to tell me that was amazing. It changed my whole mindset. It flipped me on the head. So I absolutely subscribe to that, brother. Um, hey man, Jorge uses an analogy, um, that talks about the Exodus Elite program. Why don't you tell us about that?
There's a few analogies he uses. The one that I love the most is that we're planting seeds. Um, so a lot of people in the sales industry make the mistake of, we're all planting seeds. If you're in the sales, if you do sales, then you're planting seeds. But a lot of people make the mistake of trying to build the tree. God builds the tree. That's not our responsibility to build it. We just plant the seed, we get out of it. We water it, we use marketing, put those posts out there, but you don't like pester people nonstop, you know. You're gonna get people that way, but the people that you're gonna get that way are people that aren't committed enough uh to hop on their own. They aren't in the right state of mind to actually want it. It's like because those types of people, the people that you do want, the trees that God builds are gonna look way better than the trees that you build. All right.
Yeah, so bro, that was an amazing analogy. It wasn't the one I was thinking of. But in terms of Exodus Elite, right? There's a particular analogy that George uses. It's called the gold rush analogy. Can you speak to that a little bit?
I like that one. That one's really good. All right. So most people, the biggest I should start by saying the biggest problem that people have online is lead generation. And most people try to mine for the gold themselves. Right? They try to get leads themselves, or they try to sell people leads, right? They mine for the gold and then they sell the gold. But it's like, why do that when you can sell the shovels? What we do, we sell education. We teach people how to get the leads because the education is what you ultimately use to mine. It's what you use to know where to look online and how to attract the right people to your audience. So that's the shovel. The shovel is the education. Um, so yeah, why mine for gold when you can sell the shovels? Huh?
Yeah, exactly, bro. So there's a lot of people out there, the gold rush mentality, right? People in
Right.
the we had the Eureka Stockade over here, okay? And people there was a massive gold rush. People were all trying to get on the bandwagon, all digging for gold, okay? But that gets means that it gets heavily saturated, and I'm pretty sure people started fighting each other and all sorts of crazy stuff over here. It's one of the
Right.
big historical, points of that we're talked about in Australia. But the real rich people are selling the tools, right? They're not even getting involved in that, right? They're selling the shovels, they're selling the picks and the tools that these people need, that every single one of them need, whether it's for
Right.
digging for gold or beating each other over the head with them. The point is that that's the saturated market, right? Um, you know, and every these days everyone is trying to get online. There's a lot of people that want to, they're done with the 9 to 5, right? They're done with having to be in a certain place at a certain time. They're seeing other people with that success online. TikTok's one of those platforms, right? And man, from what I can see of TikTok, there's a lot of people talking about online success, but are not a lot of people actually able to show it.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of the things that I've noticed is, you know, a lot of these people promising promising this new freedom online and change your life and blah, blah, blah. You know, I get 30 of them reaching out a day. And it's like, these guys just don't know how to treat people like human beings or sell, you know? So
Right.
talk to me a little bit about, um, you know, selling and how to sell properly to people.
Mm. So it's the law of reciprocity, right? So if you're out here trying to push people, trying to shove people, trying to be like, hey, go over here, buy my thing, they're gonna push back. They're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna push you away. You're pushing me, so I'm pushing you. I don't want to go through this door, right? So our job as salespeople isn't to push people through doors, it's to open them up for them. Or what I usually say is our job is to open doors, not to push people through them. And And even if they don't go through the door, even if they don't make a sale, um, it's likely because they're in a spot in life where they don't need what you're selling, which is even better in my opinion, because now you've met someone who is already on the other side and can show you, how they're doing it. right? So it's not like sell or be sold. It's not like eat or be eaten type deal that everyone thinks it is. It's community. It's working together. And if you look at it that way rather than a if you look at it through the scope of like abundance rather than the scope of scarcity, then you'll find yourself not only a lot more happier in your business, but a lot more successful too, because people pick up on that and they're like, oh, well, this person's genuinely interested in connecting with me and isn't really worried about whether or not he can sell me because chances are, we can both benefit from each other in other ways too. Like right now, I haven't sold you, you haven't sold me. We're in a call making an interview, adding value to people. Because why? We made a connection. And that adding value to others adds value to yourself too, because people see this and they're going to be like, wow, these guys know what they're talking about. It's because we do.
Interest, yeah, really well put, man. And it kind of made me think, self-love, how important is that? And can you make a distinction between that and ego?
Oh, yeah. They're opposites. Ego is self-hatred. It's saying, I don't think I'm worthy enough. And because of that, how do I put this? Ego, I can see how the two can be confused because ego is believing you aren't worthy enough to change. And self-love is realizing that you have the potential and so you want to grow and change. Um yeah, that's really the difference between them. Ego isn't self-love, it's self-sabotage, self-hatred. Um
It's a mask.
And another way it could be confused is because you can confuse the material realm for the spiritual realm just by lying to people. When people are smart, they usually pick up on that, and that's the biggest problem in our industry is that 93% of people like we message people every single day, and for some reason, even though 93% of our industry makes less than $20,000 a year, I'd say like 9 out of 10 people try to play it off like they're millionaires. And I'm just over here like, are you really though? Because like, I mean, it's okay if you're not. So that's ego. It's lying, it's self-sabotage. It's not thinking you're worthy enough, so you have to pretend that you're something that you're not.
Exactly. I'd even go even further as saying, ego is about, basically wearing someone else's costume, right?
Hmm.
People get told, oh, scarcity selling, right? Your time's money. Don't jump on calls. Don't do stuff for free. Don't follow people online, right? That's one of the
Right.
biggest things that I look for when I'm looking to connect with people, right? Especially, in the influencer space or the leadership space. And one of the things I can pick straight away, it's like, all right, so you're talking about helping others and helping people change their life, but you've got 20,000 followers and you follow 20 people. How's that giving, right? To me,
Mhm.
that seems to be like ego. It's like, oh yeah, it's just the classic, and I've been around the block, man. So, the classic, like, don't follow others, make yourself look scarce, and all this scarcity selling around that, man. I had a guy that I was wanting to interview for this series the other day, right? No charge, not doing it for anything other than putting the right people out there in front of others who, young people who are looking to get into the business world, or people who hit rock bottom and they're sick of life, or, and they think no one's there to help, or they're looking to they're done with their job or whatever. So I'm trying to put people out there like you, Caleb, and he says, "Oh, you're gonna have to pay me," and I'm like, "Mate, this is free promotion for you. You just got to come on the call." Like, so I said straight away, "You're not a good fit, man. Don't worry about it." Right? It's
Right.
like, you know what I mean? It's to me that's kind of ego, right? It's like I'm so important. right?
Right, yeah.
That you're gonna have to pay me. I don't just jump on calls, bro. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it's like,
Yeah, that's a really good point. Ego, yeah, it's self. You know, it's like it's thinking about yourself too much because there's egotistical people who hate their lives and are like, you know, I can never do anything great with my life. And there's egotistical people who absolutely love their lives. They're like, "Oh, I'm so much better than everybody else." What's the difference between self-love and ego? It's the ability to think about others.
exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly, right?
Absolutely.
In fact, this is one of the most important things George taught me about self-love is, bro, if you don't have proper, powerful self-love and you can't forgive yourself for the past, like, if you can't, forgive yourself for the past and for the things that your mistakes you've made, things like that, um, then you can't properly give and love to others, right?
Absolutely.
And that really hit home to me because, you know, I confused, I think, ego and self-love because of the wrong guidance for too long, man. But I think back to my natural disposition before I, got into the high ticket sales world, and it was completely non-egotistical. It was a giver. I used to, I've always been told I pick up lame ducks. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know
Yeah.
what that means, but it's being trying to help people. Always want to try and help people, giving people who are on the sidewalk, living on the streets, a $10 note, things like that. Helping my mates who all had a lot of struggles in their life. Um, you know, and I used to get told, oh, you pick up lame ducks, you're too naive, you're too trusting, you're this and that. It's like, I took that stuff on board. It was like, and just replaced it all with this self-belief, which was really just self-sabotage, arrogance, and the inability to listen.
Right. Yeah. And like uh, I've run into that too, like picking up lame ducks, you know, wanting to like give and give and give to people until there's nothing left for myself. But like, here's the question that you really have to ask yourself is like, what is money? You know, what is all this material stuff? It's just energy in the physical form, and it's the lowest form of currency. So like, would I rather give someone a fish? Would I rather give a lame duck a fish or give the lame duck a fishing pole? Would I rather give the lame duck gold or give him a shovel? Hmm? See the so
That's
it's like I don't I used to give out money until I was completely broke, but then I realized I have something that's infinite that I can keep giving out that I'd much rather give out than money. And that's knowledge. That's the the exactly what we sell, the ability to make more of that.
perfectly and brilliantly put, my brother. You're such a wise guy, man. Um, so tell me, mate. That's okay. That's my mum. Um, so brother, tell me, now that you've got these revised visions and these revised goals, um, what is it? Tell me about some of your aspirations, bro. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years from now, I see myself running my own community. I mean, like a physical, I want to build I guess you'd call it like a guild or a small town of about 12 people. And and I want it to be like completely self-sustained with solar power, methane digesters for gas and to manage waste, of course. I have like this whole thing mapped out that I still have to finish and write down what it all costs. But that's where I see myself in 5 years. After that, I don't know. That's what I want to do with my life, really. But I feel like I can do it in 5 years.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, have you seen the channel Storm Clouds Gathering? Check that out. He lives completely self-sustained. Um,
Ooh, oh, I gotta write
Absolutely
that down.
awesome. He's got awesome videos as well, by the way. So what's
I'll
your
write that later.
purpose, brother? So what's your purpose? How do you see your purpose? Your higher
My purpose is
purpose?
my higher purpose. My higher purpose is to be somebody to be a strong person for someone who's weak. When I was first born, I wasn't crying. And the first thing that was ever said to me was well, he's a tough little guy. So I when I don't remember that, but that's what my mom told me. So being someone who's hasn't been a very tough little guy throughout my life, I cry a lot and I've been pushed around a lot. I've suffered abuse. I've been addicted to alcohol and drugs, and I've overcome all of that because God takes people uh and I don't want to say makes them what they're not, but makes them what they always were. Because you were born perfect, you were born beautiful, a child of God. It's this world, this sinful material world that's corrupted you and turned you into something that you're not. That's why I have social anxiety. That's why I'm depressed. That's why I'm anxious all the time. It's because Satan, the adversary, wants us to forget who we are. So God called me to do all these things. And I'm like, it's not for me, God. And God's like, who do you think you're talking to? I made you. And the first thing I said to you through that doctor who delivered you was, you're a tough little guy. So that's my purpose, man. That's my divine purpose is to be strong for someone who's weak.
And show them their true power, man.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's an amazing story. And bro, mate, crying's not weak, crying's strong, I believe. Like, man, I used to, I went through a lot of bad times, lost two brothers on my journey, and ended up in hospital quite a few times with mental health and the same issues that you had. Um, and then they put me on this medication, and I couldn't cry, and that was one of the most devastating things for me. Not being able to cry, man, like I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Um, and I think a lot of the stuff with the addiction and stuff, which I can absolutely speak to George's mentorship here, right? Because
Mhm.
20 weeks ago, man, I'd walked out of hospital, and yeah, I'd decided I was not going to be walking out of there. That was the last time. I'd made that decision before I met George. But then I went through an extremely traumatic experience, within a couple of days of walking out of that hospital.
Oh no.
And I'd worked on my trauma. I'd kind of made a commitment to myself, and George came into my life by just breaking down some boundaries I didn't even know I had. Um, but since then, man, been with this group, no more meds, and I was on a lot of heavy meds. No more weed, and I'm prescribed for weed, but I don't use it at all anymore. Don't touch alcohol, wake up feeling great, sleeping better without, unassisted. And I don't know, man, I just feel powerful. I'm playing better soccer than I ever had. I know that I'm a
Oh
team
yeah, let's
leader
go.
right now. And I just, man, I'm meeting people like you, absolutely amazing. So, and I think it's a spiritual disconnect. The real big disconnect for me came right after jumping off the first call I ever had with a with my first mentor, Dan Locke. Um, Group training, 6 hours worth of group training. It was all about the hustle, about who could outwork each other and things like that. I hung up the call and got a call from my sister. My brother-in-law was in hospital. This is about 20 years after losing my first brother, Adam, when he was 18. And I just remember like this time just going, dear God, no, not again. No, I believe he's going to be okay. I believe he's going to be okay. I just watched him fade away in hospital over the next 5 to 7 days. That really hurt me, man. And I threw myself into the work. You know what I mean? But I just cast out the spirituality. I was done. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. Sick and tired of believing in you. You keep taking people away, blah, blah, blah. But I realized that I just, for the next 7 years, okay, made a lot of money. And God took every single bit of it away from me, man. Um, you know, put me through a really, really tough journey. And it wasn't until I met George that he said, and he wasn't ready to work with me. He was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to work together. What I don't know anyone who doesn't have spirit, Christianity and God kind of integrated with their business who's successful. And just go do this. Just go meditate. Count down from 100 to zero. Uh, to make sure your mind's clear, and then just say, "What is this?" Just ask Jesus, "What is this?" Um, Man, I will never forget that day, bro. Like, I will never forget that day. I went down the beach because I believe that in worshiping in nature, and I hadn't spoken to Jesus for a good 7 years. I went down the beach, had to count down from 100 to zero like 4 times because my mind was just racing and racing as it had always been. Um, and man, when I finally got to zero, like I can't describe it, man. I cannot describe it in a worldly fashion. But all I could say is that I heard the words loud and clear, man. Like, stop talking, start showing, right? Show me to the world. And I had this full body experience, bro. Like, like something came into me that day, man. Like, and it was wild. I was crying with the power of it. I've never experienced anything. And from that day, man, I just knew George was the guy for me. Um, since then, nothing's shown me anything but a complete, relentless dedication to his students. And I know, man, I know that if you don't have that higher spirituality connected to what you're doing, you're going to fail, man, and you're going to get everything taken away from you. But if you hit rock bottom and you got everything taken away from you, it's probably because God's calling you to a higher purpose and you've just been ignoring it and denying it.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, I remember you sharing that story, and like I just thought like, dude, this guy is so much higher up there than me. Like this guy is so much more connected to Jesus, so much more godly and loving and just a great dude. How can I be like him? Like you're a huge inspiration to me when I first joined this thing, Rory. Like the amount of like love and support and just how much you give to people is beautiful. Like it's there's no doubt in my mind that God chose you for this for a really good reason. It's because you are who you are, a great guy.
Oh, brother, are you gonna make me cry now? But you're a huge inspiration to me, bro. You're a huge inspiration to me. Like, I just you know what? I just know people with open hearts are the most courageous, man. And the sure way to destruction is to close your heart, bro. You got your heart open. You're a young guy. You're a family man. You're going out there. You're doing the work. You're subscribing to all the teachings. You're an empty cup, brother. And I just think, don't ever think that I'm above you, bro. You'd probably, I don't think that's true. I think you're above me. You're so much further ahead of where I was when I was 25, man. I was 25, I was upset, man. I was angry at the world. I was, pissed off, lost my brother. Like, I was just done, gone. It took me a long time. I got married young too, man. I put my wife through a lot of hell. And so bro, you've got so much more power in you than me. And if I have played a role in that, then man, that's really special to me. But bro, you're gonna go up, up, up from here. Hey man, you said something about stuff coming from the physical realm or the spiritual realm earlier that kind of piqued me a little bit, piqued my interest. Can you unwrap that a little bit more for me?
Yeah, of course. So the spiritual realm is they're both they're both the same thing. God is just one thing, and everything is Him. But the physical realm and the spiritual realm are separated by our our senses. Like I can see the physical realm. I can hear the physical realm. I can touch it. I can, experience it in my conscious mind. The spiritual realm we experience in our subconscious mind. We aren't directly aware of it. We interact with it through metaphysical currencies like love and respect and honor and all these things that act as gateways between the physical and the spiritual realm.
Mate, succinctly put, that was brilliant. Um, yeah, man. And the riches in this world were promised to us by Christ in this world, right? So discovering the connect, but one of the teachings again from George is like nothing in this physical world comes from the physical real world, right? Right?
Right.
It comes from the spiritual realm, and unless you know how to tap into the spiritual realm, into the subconscious, and download those riches from there, you ain't going to have money. You're not going to have success because you're not serving a higher power or purpose, man. That really,
Right.
mate, the amount of the stuff this guy's told me, mate, like, but the fact that you put that so concisely is just a testament to you, brother. Hey, bro, we've been going for a bit, so we better wind this up. Um, you know, all right, so let's get into a few just a few final questions here, Caleb. Uh, all right, you're still young, but if you could go back and give advice to yourself during your I'm ready to give up and throw my pan in the river, please phase, what would it be? And what would your younger self have said?
What would I tell my younger self? I can't say I would have. I mean, at a time I would have said, invest in Bitcoin, do this differently, do that differently. But it's like my younger self wouldn't have listened because he wasn't ready to hear that yet. So it's like everything, the place that I am right now, and just the amount of beautiful, abundant things I've been seeing and the place where I was before were all things that was meant to happen. It's all part of God's plan, and He's always been in control. So I can't say I would say anything to my younger self. I don't want to ruin what I have right now.
That's powerful, bro. What's the hardest truth you've ever had to realize and confront?
Hardest truth I ever had to realize and confront. Wow, there's been a lot. What's the hardest one though? Hmm. That other people that we're all expressions of God, every single one of us. Like, I grew up really religious, so I was kind of indoctrinated into this mindset where God is like this completely separate thing from us, and we're all just like these tiny little mud people, you know. He's so much better than us. We're so, little, we're so small, which is true, but it's also true that we're expressions of him. We're his children. Like we have access to his powers, and it says that in the Bible too. Everything that you ask in my name, I will give you. What does that mean? It means you have to know God. You have to know his name, not his spoken name, because his name is a name that's not spoken with language. It's not spoken with words. It's spoken with emotion. It's spoken with feeling. It's spoken in the metaphysical realm, not with the physical realm. We use our lips to make sound so we can hear that in the physical realm. But God's name is not spoken with that. It's spoken with metaphysical things like love. That's God's name. And that's what you have to know to tap into his power, to really know God. You have to know you have to know how to say his name. And everything that you ask in that name, you will receive because you are a beautiful expression of God. Whoever's watching this, each and every single one of you are. You're a beautiful Rory. You're a beautiful expression of God. I'm a beautiful expression of God. Jorge is every single one of us.
Jesus.
Um, and that was the hardest truth for me to, but that was the turning point. It was the hardest one because it was the last one I really needed to accept.
Wow, man. Wow. That was really moving, Caleb. All right, man. Well, like, let's finish off with some funny stuff, okay?
Let's
Um,
do it.
all right, bro. If you had theme music, what would it be? Would it be Rocky or would it be um, or what would it be Rocky or what would it be?
It's beautiful you asked that because my wife just got a new car and like the music I always complain that she listens to like the same music over and over again, but something new played and it's not even new. It's like from 2016. Let It Be like by a little I think it was called Let It All Be by Lil Wayne. That would be my theme music. Because it's like it's got those Christian elements because Lil Wayne's, he's a Christian, so he has God vibes in what he makes. And it's also like just, like in your face, like boom, you know, like freaking gangster shit.
Yeah, I like Lil Wayne, man. He's got a sick track called "No Love" with Eminem that I one of my favorites of all time, eh? Um,
Absolutely.
all right, mate. Finally, if your life was a meme, okay, uh, which one would it be? Would it be the Homer Simpson one fading back into the bushes, or would it be the boyfriend looking back, or something else?
It'd be the like the boyfriend looking back thing. It's like the girl right next to me would be, like the material world, and then the one I'm looking back at is God. I'm like, ooh, I want that. And Satan's just like, wait, but we're together. No, I'm going after that. Get out of here, dude.
That's amazing, bro. I love your authenticity, Caleb. I've really, really enjoyed this interview, brother. I've got so much out of this interview, bro. I'm so excited to watch you grow. You are absolutely leading the pack right now and just firing everyone up in our group. Brother, don't ever change. Stay true to who you are, and I can't wait to get this interview out to people. Guys, if you're looking for someone who's been on both sides of the page here, who's young, right, who understands youth but has the wisdom of God inside of him, and has started his warriorship journey early, I highly recommend you get in touch with Caleb, jump in with our group, and see the results for yourself. At the end of the day, guys, if you want to get online, if you want to jump into having a business online where you have time freedom and independence and you don't have to work that 9 to 5 and you want to get in with the right people, I'm pretty sure this interview just delivered the right type of person to you. So thank you guys. Thank you, Caleb. Um, and thanks everyone for watching this one. It's been a really moving one and a really powerful one for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory.